This is Matrix Lord 212, and I want to talk about Thor 2 for a minute, and Iron Man 3. I do believe, I think I've stated this before, and I told my kids, but the Enchantress has to be in a Thor movie eventually. If not the second one, the third one. But I do see her being a villain. I do see, Loki being a part of it as well. And I think at the end you would have Thanos steal the Infinity Gauntlet because it wasn't Thor movie. So that's what I see happening with Thor. I see that maybe Thor and Loki teaming up. Maybe Thanos' people come after Loki. The Enchantress is involved. I don't know, but I do see that happening. That them teaming up, and then the Infinity Gauntlet being stolen by Thanos. Now Iron Man 3, I do think that there's going to be the Mandarin in it. But there's another character that nobody's mentioned yet called Cold Blood. Now, I think Cold Blood has to do with Deathlock or something like that. I have to look into that really because I was Wikipediaing it, and I think it has something to do with Deathlock. Now, they may have Deathlock, they may have Cold Blood, they may have different, like cyborg things in with Iron Man. But I it should be about the Mandarin. I think the Mandarin has to appear in Iron Man movie. I think the Mandarin is Iron Man's main nemesis. He's like, like Spider-Man's Green Goblin. He is, Iron Man's main nemesis. So, I do feel that the Mandarin will appear. And I don't think that this would be the last Iron Man. I think that they could keep going. But they'll probably take a little bit of a break. But there will be, I think, an Iron Man 4. I'm almost sure. I do think that we're going to see the Red Skull return in possibly the Avengers movie, I would say. I think that's where they would bring him back. I think that Captain America 2 will probably have like Batroc or it could be, a whole bunch of different characters. It could be MODOK or, I'm sure they would do something like that. But Captain America 2 will be in the present, I'm sure. And I'm definitely going to see, we're definitely going to see a Guardians of the Galaxy movie, only because I think people are looking for, it's like, almost like Avengers in space, basically. So Guardians of the Galaxy was always about that. I know it used to be my favorite comic back in the day. I really didn't read the reboot that they did recently, but I was a big fan back in the day of Guardians of the Galaxy. So a lot of movies, a Hulk movie, and like I said, if there is a Hulk movie, don't waste time with an origin at all. Let's just pick up where the Avengers left off, and you could do like a 30-second or a minute flashback, and do the origin from the gamma bomb in the desert. Okay, like the comics. Throw in Rick Jones or whatever, and Leader, and all these different things. Okay. But you could also do Planet Hulk eventually. I mean, you know, you could always do that where the Avengers send the Hulk on another planet. Like they can make movies about it with the Hulk and stuff. I do think that a Black Widow movie probably might not work. And a Nick Fury movie I don't think would work either. Because you gotta have those characters are cool, but just like a Hawkeye movie, I don't think would work either. So I would say no to that. But the Avengers 2 will definitely have to be much bigger scale. It would have to be more Avengers. It would have to have Avengers Mansion or Avengers Tower or whatever. It has to establish more Avengers. I'm sure they would bring in Mockingbird character, which she marries Hawkeye eventually. But I know that they'll probably bring in the Vision. And you know what? I made a video about this, and then all of a sudden, days later, MTV made a thing about it. I stated it first, and I said that the Vision may be Agent Coleman. Because he was so much like it. I do see the Scarlet Witch coming into the picture. I do see there's so many characters they could do. But you know what? Eventually, what they could do is they could probably do an A versus X movie, I would say, in 2020. Or maybe, a little bit before that. But I do see them eventually doing an A versus X movie. maybe 2016. I don't know, but that would definitely be, of all the movies to be the #1 movie of all time, something like that, A versus X, the movie, that would be the Avengers of all time, I would think. Could you imagine Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, Charles Xavier, like Patrick Stewart, like have everybody in it? I mean, that would be ridiculous. A versus X would be the #1 movie of all time, I would think, if they did it right. But that could be a decade away. And then I do believe if they do the Fantastic Four right, that could be a great movie as well. And I think that need to also shy away from the origin, because that's what the whole problem is that you spend the whole movie on the origin, and then no, you know what? Let's just everybody knows who the Fantastic Four are. You don't need to tell the story. You could always do a flashback later on. Let's just go. Just do it. Doctor Doom, brand new Doctor Doom. Let's just make it awesome. Um, and Daredevil, yeah, Daredevil needs to be a big overhaul. Okay, definitely a big overhaul. Needs to be redone. Needs to make it really good too, like really good. But there's other characters that could have movies. They can bring Blade back. Why don't you bring Blade back with Wesley Snipes? Blade Returns. I mean, why not? Um, the disaster in the last movie with Dracula and all that garbage, that was ridiculous. That I don't want to see. So I do want to see Blade return and kick some butt. I want to see him form the Night Stalkers. Ryan Reynolds could return. That would be great. A Deadpool movie would work. Yes, absolutely. As long as it's done right. And you know what? Let's have another X-Men movie. Or you could continue with the cast from X-Men or X-Men First Class. I mean, that's a perfect Magneto right there. That guy. Uh, the possibilities are endless with these Marvel movies. I'm hoping that they do Wolverine right, the movie, the second one, I guess. But there's also many other movies they could do. And X-Men's Origins was a kind of a mixture of like a Magneto origin, like Magneto. They were going to do a Magneto Origins and stuff like that. So that's kind of what that turned out to be. But there are still other movies they could do. I mean, they were even talking about doing a Namor movie with Dwayne Johnson, and having a movie with, Captain America and the Torch and Namor and like the Invaders. But they never established that in the movie, so they would probably have to do that after. But I would like to see Atlantis in the old style, Captain America era, rising up, and it would be a pretty interesting thing. Even if they had Captain America go back in time and just do what he's got to do to stop, I guess, Namor or something, that would be interesting too. But the possibilities are endless with these Marvel movies. And the only movie I didn't really talk about was Spider-Man movie, because you know what it is, I'm waiting to see, and that's my favorite movie of all time. My favorite character, Spider-Man. But I really hope that they do this right, because if they do not do this right, we're gonna have a serious problem. I have full confidence in the actors, but of the script, I'm not so sure. So I have to wait and see attitude with that one. But I just hope that Marvel as a company could realize what they really have with these wonderful movies. And then they should be sad when they look at their comics. Okay? And this is a pledge, because they should look at their comics. Somebody big in Marvel, the big wigs, should take a look at their comics and say, oh, could we make a movie about this? And when you look at the Spider-Man books now, and you say, could we make a movie about this? And then all of a sudden, everybody unanimously say, hell no, you know there's a problem. And you know what I'm talking about, Marvel. I'm talking about Peter Parker making a deal with Mephisto, the devil, to save the life of a 90-year-old woman, Aunt May, and give up and erase his 21 years of marriage to a hot supermodel named Mary Jane Watson. Absolutely never would happen, ever. Absolutely not. And I will say that every single time. No way. And if the same guy that did that does have this idea that Wolverine created the first X-Men. You know what, dude? If I didn't know any better, I think you'd be working for DC Comics, because I absolutely not too. So that person I would love to have lunch with, because I would like to have a nice little conversation and see where he's coming from, why he's coming up with all these crazy, crazy ideas that are just like destroying the fabric of the characters. All right. You know, back in the day, I used to say that there was like a writer that I'm not going to mention his name that went back to Marvel Comics, and I felt that this guy, his sole purpose was to secretly destroy a lot of books that he worked on. Okay, you know, and I saw that as a fan. Okay, and then it was a time where he was fired off a certain book because he did something that wasn't supposed to be done. And I think that he was the one that, you know, I don't want to mention names, but he was the one that destroyed, um, you know, the West Coast Avengers West Coast, that turned into that garbage name, Spider-Man books and Hulk, and I just don't think that, you know, he wasn't good for the Avengers. It was just, I think that you know, he kind of destroyed Marvel almost, and then he had his own books that were taken off in another comic book company. But I just do feel like, I mean, if it wasn't him, I mean, they took away the look for Electro, and then they had that stupid look. I mean, and then everybody decided to have that stupid look with Electro. With the no, dude, I'm sorry. Even though it looks corny, or you may think it looks corny, he has to have the bolt on the hat, like, and like stuff like that. You can't. That's Electro, okay? If it's anybody else, it doesn't look like Electro, okay? And there was a great storyline called Light the Night, by the way, a while back with Electro, where he was almost like godlike powers in the comic. That was that was well written. But you got to fix the Spider-Man books, dude. You got to fix the X-Men books. I mean, you know, Marvel Comics, certain books are crying. You know, they need to be fixed. They need to be healed. They go in way too many different directions, doing stupid thing with like mutant messiahs and everything is ridiculous. Come on now. Like, it's just, give me a damn break. Okay? You know, even the thought of bringing back Gwen Stacy, or like the stuff that they did with Gwen Stacy, with Norman Osborn, come on. Really. It makes you sick. You know, it's like, you know, and then they make a comment, like I make a video about, oh, you know, they were rebooting the whole Marvel Universe, and all of a sudden they make a statement that they're not. And I'm not saying they watched my video, but come on. Just, you know, let's get it together, okay? You know, if you can't make a movie from your comic books, then something's wrong with your comic books. All right? Fix it. Fix the Spider-Man books back the way they were. Undo the deal, and then figure out what you're going to do. That's what I say. And Peter Parker is not Reed Richards, okay? Don't make it like he could study every single book like he's a computer in one night, and think next thing you know he creates an Iron Man armor. Like, really? He creates armor where it took Tony Stark like how many years to learn about that? And you're going to create your own Spider-Man armor? Give me a damn break. Really. Really, come on. This isn't Iron Man. Spider-Man needs to be Spider-Man, okay? No, you know, it should be grounded in some sense of reality. No time travel, no magic, no devil, no deals. This isn't Ghost Rider. I don't see his freaking mask going on fire. You know, come on. Ridiculous. Fix the Spider-Man books. And I don't care if you have to throw out all the stuff that came after. You have to fix the Spider-Man books, or merge it or something. But you have to fix it where the marriage is intact and that deal never went through. And that's it. Peace.